Hi everyone, it's Alia. Welcome back to my channel. I'm coming on today to share this new TN insert junk journal that I just finished creating. It is a little bit of a chunky one, but it does measure the TN size. It's 8.5 by 4.25. And of course, I mean, it could fit into a traveler's notebook, but it works just as well as a standalone journal. So the kit that I used to make this is from TLC Creates Vintage, and it was the Irises TN kit that I used to make the papers. The image on the front was actually not from that kit, but it was also from TLC Creates Vintage. But I kind of liked it, and I'll show you why I used that. Because the paper, or not the paper, because the fabric that I used had the purple flowers in it, this image has somewhat purple flowers in it, but also it had this here, and I don't really exactly know what it is, but it kind of looks like an A. So I thought that was kind of cool, like A for Alia. I don't know. I think it's actually a tool maybe, but some of the other journaling cards looks like they have letters there too, but I use that one. So let's get inside. So the inside cover here, and let me just make sure I am in frame. Stay right there. Okay, hopefully I can stay here. Lost track of what I was saying. I don't know. So we'll just start with the inside cover. In here, there's this little glassine bag that was made by my friend Alicia. Inside I just put a little journaling card because I figured if you wanted to, you could write the name or the date or like a trip if you're using this to write about a trip or something, just kind of like a introduction to the journal. And then I have this vintage playing card here, and it's a funny card because, well, it's not that it's funny, it's just different because it has the picture on the inside rather than the outside. Then I have some vintage, what are these called? Trivial Pursuit Young Players cards. This is actually a little library card from Seneca Pond Crafts. I shrunk it down so it can fit in this little pocket, and a tag with, you can journal on, but has a little fuzzy eyelash trim on the top. So, and on the back, I printed this paper, and I got it from Femra's Vintage Garden, and it's coffee dyed paper with lines on it. And I don't know if that's actually going to show up on camera, but there are lines on it, so it's perfect for journaling here. Because, of course, you can't really journal too much here. I mean, I guess you could, like on the light parts, but I wanted places where there's lines, so I have this lining the back of, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure all of them have the same on the back. So here, because I have some vintage music sheets in here, they had parts that were cut off of it because I had to cut it down to fit the notebook. And of course, you don't throw away the parts that you cut off. Sorry, I'm standing up again just to make sure I'm in frame. Okay. So what I did was I just cut it out. I backed it on some pattern paper. Here's one of my stamps that I got. I just collaged that on there with a vintage button. Ran some trim down there, and then turned it into a pocket. And in the pocket here, I have a vintage flash card. This is also from TLC Creates Vintage, and this is from Seneca Pond Crafts. And then that all tucks right down inside. And then with coffee dyed paper here. Here I just did a little lace with a vintage button. Another of the sheaths. And also in this book, it has, of course I'm not going to be able to get this off, it has two of these little booklets. And it's on the front, I sewed the booklets together, ran some of the little trim here. Have these 2 little die cuts, and then it's basically all just little blank pages. And of course you can take this out, you don't have to have it in the book. You can do whatever you want with it, but for now, oops, it's in there. And love this one, very purple. And on this page here, it is the vintage music paper, but what I thought is, why not utilize the page? So here I've just put some cardstock. I had inked around the edges, but it's a little place for you to journal. And then up here is one of those little envelopes. Remember, well, not that you remember, but if you saw my last, I'm just going to stand up for a second because I need to reach something. Estate sale haul, I've got all these envelopes that I found there. And I love using envelopes, especially kind of vintagey ones. So as you can see, what I did was I inked around the edges, I added some trim, I added one of the little appliques that I got from Brimfield there, and then inside is just a little journaling card. It's plain. I just inked around the edges. And then I have these 2. So another of those vintage Japanese playing cards, and this is from Seneca Pond Crafts. And then that slides right behind. Okay, and these papers are just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I love them. They're so like colorfully vintage. I don't know if that makes sense, but you'll just see as we go through. Just really cool paper. And here we have a little flip up, and I'm trying to hold it as close as I can to the camera because the tripod's in the way right there, so I can't really go any further like I used to. But I just have a bunch of different things layered on. This is a little Tim Holtz piece. I think so is this. So just wanted to kind of dress it up a little bit. And then in here, another library card from Seneca Pond Crafts. This is from, see how you can see like a P right here, I think? So I'm pretty sure the one on the front is an A. I don't know. And then I made this tag here. I did some light stamping on it, so that way you can still journal if you want to. Okay, another beautiful flower image. And on this page here, it's like the flip up, flip down for the journaling, or you can put a secret picture in there. But then I also ran some trim here and on the bottom. And then I just put this little, this is a Tim Holtz little die cut. And then on the inside pocket, another library card from Seneca Pond Crafts and a vintage Trivial Pursuit card. And here, this is kind of cool. I've seen other people do this, and I always say, oh, I want to do that too, and then I always forget. But this time I remembered. So it looks like a little tuck spot here, obviously, right? And has some little journaling cards in there. Has some lace on the tuck spot, but you can open it up and you can journal on the inside there. So I thought that's pretty cool. So then we have here, I have, and I'm sorry, this is as close as I can get it, so that way you can still, if I go up too close, you can't really see it. So right here, this behind here, there's this die cut here, and there's a die cut, kind of like a scalloped die cut of sort of like, I don't want to say a flower, but it's like a scalloped die cut. Those I actually got from Scrappy Lolly Paper Co. or Paper Company. And let me just see. I was putting some of my stuff in here, but what I got from her, it's so cool. I don't remember how many pieces. There's like tons of pieces, but they're all, like you see, we have different things that are cut up, or die cut out, different little pieces. There's tags, there's also the big circles. It's just really fun. So it's basically a whole little package of different types of die cut pieces, but I love using them in there because they make perfect tuck spots. So see how I use that? I just glued it down here so that way you can still tuck stuff in there. These two things are from Tim Holtz. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. There we go, the bird and that little thing. And then I just added some lace under there too. And in this pocket, this postcard is also from Seneca Pond Crafts. This is actually the journaling card that came with this kit from TLC Creates Vintage. And another tag that I just did some light stamping on, so that way you can add some notes or whatever you'd like to do. And here, I just have, oh, see, here's a, see, it does look, I think it is an A. This is the same image that was on the front, another postcard. And then, oops, this is a vintage score sheet, I think that's what they're called. Yeah, score sheet, that you can journal on, or you can make lists on, which is really nice. So you can do whatever you want with those. And then I just clipped them right on like that. It's not graph paper, ledger paper. And this is basically the repeat of what we just saw, except this is vintage office, like a memo paper. And then here I just ran some trim down the side of the music paper. Another beautiful image. It's very purpley. And also, okay, so this here is also from Scrappy Lolly Paper Company, and it was, let me see, I got this little kit from her, and it's all, I think, tea stained things, but look at all these cards in here, and they're all embossed, which is really cool, and they have all different embossings on them, I don't know, whatever you call them, but you see, and I mean, there's a ton of them in here. So what I did, of course I can't get this back in here while I'm on camera, so let me just put that aside for now. What I did was I cut it down just to make the pocket. I love that pattern, very flowery. Ran some trim and a little yellowish vintage button there. And this button I also got in Brimfield this past weekend. And inside, 2 more journaling cards and a postcard from Seneca Pond Crafts. And oh, there we go. Some more writing space. And then here is the middle of the signature, which is so cool because it's like a little frame in here. So you could journal, you could put a picture here, whatever you wanted, but it's kind of like framed as the middle of something. So I really liked that. And then here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Maybe. Actually, let me take these out first. You see how it's cut there? I used those decorative scissors that I got, that I showed in my last estate sale haul, where I got a bunch of these scissors. Well, I wanted to test it out, so I used it to cut the corners of the pockets. Not the corners, the sides. And then I just did a little layering with the laces there. Another postcard there. And then another little journaling card. And what I did, because this is a vintage index card, instead of putting the stuff on the line side, I put it on the blank side. As you can see, I stamped the background. I added this vintage paper, book paper here. Just ran some lace and a vintage button. But, oh, and I left glue strings on there. You can use this side because it has lines to write stuff. See? Really smart thinking there. Because normally I probably would have glued the stuff on this side. And then that just slips back up in there. And that is next to it. This is avocado dyed paper. I don't know if you can see the pink. It's really pink in real life, but pretty cool. And, ooh, these are cool. There are 3 of these altered envelopes. Again, these are the ones that I got from the estate sale. And why? Hold on. Why am I thinking that? Oh, because I use, okay, I'm sorry. Lost track of my thinking. What I did is I took 3 different size envelopes. I inked all around the edges. They all have some sort of journaling something or other inside. And then I kind of collaged on the back So we have some vintage, I don't know, it's like fabric, but it's like not lace, but whatever that is. I don't know. Vintage button. This is a Tim Holtz piece. We have some eyelash trim, and as you can see, maybe in the very background here, this is one of those die cut pieces I got from Scrappy Lolly paper. And then this is the vintage game piece thingy. I don't know, so technical thingy. And then that clips right back on. And of course, like everything else, you don't have to use this envelope in the journal. You can take it out. You can use it to give a gift, like a gift card or something. You can use it for whatever you want. I just include it because why not, right? And here's another one of the little booklets I made. This one here has a die-cut butterfly, but I'm not going to unclip it. It's the same, just random papers on the inside to do some journaling or note-taking, whatever you want to do. Actually, I think journaling and note-taking is the same thing. But, and here, I just did a little collaging, another little of the stamps. I'm trying to use those stamps as much as I can because I think they're just really cool. And this color sort of went with the whole thing. And these were actually just bits of what I was cutting off, like the other stuff. And of course, you know, they sit on my desk and I say, oh, you know what? That would make a really good collage. And then that's a Tim Holtz butterfly. And then here is another altered envelope. There's just some die cut pieces, some lace in the background, and again, just some journaling papers. And here's some vintage office memo paper. And how did I have that? Just kind of all clipped on like that, I believe. Okay. And another little tuck with the scalloped edge that I cut with my scissors. And I made a little collage here. This is a Tim Holtz piece, little vintage button there, and just some random laces there. And then in this pocket, we have a playing card there, which is really cute. Here is another journaling card from this kit, and this is a, upside down, this is a journaling card from TLC Creates Vintage. So, I never know where, oh, I think that's the top. I'm always afraid that I'm going to tuck it up too high. There we go. All right, and here is another flip up, flip down. And again, I ran the raised lace here, Tim Holtz piece, and then lace on the bottom. And inside two journaling, well, a journaling card, postcard, and then a Trivial Pursuit card there. And here is another little, oops, flip here. Little bingo card, that's Tim Holtz, lace, and a vintage button. And inside this one, we have another journaling card. Here's a little tag that I made with some light stamping on the front, and then on the back I left it plain so you can journal. And then I'm trying to use my washi tape because I have a bunch now, but I'm not really good at using it. So this is my first attempt at using washi tape. I just ran it there, but it's the flowers, as you can see. So I thought, oops, no, there you go. I thought that would go well with this book because everything is so flowery. And here's a playing card and then a little tag. And here's some more of the vintage music paper, and I believe it's from 1938. 38 or 36, but I think it's 38. And then here's something different. I just used a piece of cardstock and then I just lined it with the trim just to make kind of like a frame, and then you can journal on the inside there. And then this one is the last of the altered envelopes. And as you can see, just a little eyelash trim, two vintage buttons, that, and this is a Tim Holtz piece. And in here, a journaling card. And then some more vintage office memo paper. And then that clips right back on here. Oops, I think I was out of frame for a second. And then another just little collage. I love this little envelope. This is the cutest thing. Oops, glue strings are not cute. But it's a little Tim Holtz piece. But how adorable is that little envelope letter? So cute. So I put that in there. And then here is another part of the vintage music sheet that I had cut off. Again, I backed it on some pattern paper and turned it into a pocket, stamp, lace, vintage button, and a whole mess of journaling cards inside. So I think we've seen them all. And then here is another playing card that I got from this past Brimfield trip. And I think we are about, yep, to the end. So this is my little chunky TN insert. Now I can sit down again because my legs are tired. If you are interested, it will be available on my Etsy. I'll leave all that information below. I will also leave a link to Scrappy Lolly Paper Company because I love her shop and she has these just cool things in there. So I'll leave a link to her shop. I will also leave a link to TLC Creates Vintage, where I got the kit from and where I also got these other journaling cards from because she has a lot of nice printables. So if you have any questions or comments, please definitely leave them below. I hope you liked my newest project share, and as I'm looking at my hands, they're just a mess because I just finished making this book, so excuse my hands. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.